Okay guys, this is the fourth time that I've recorded this video. Alright, PHP Guru and PHP, just not the PHP Guru and the screen capture. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. Let's actually show the code that we're going to be working with. Alright, so this, I've actually gone ahead and wrote the code that we're going to be looking at. That way make it quicker for you, quicker for me. I don't have to type out everything. I can just explain to you what it does, and I will put links to the source code. That way you can check it out yourself. Okay, so this is kind of assuming that you know a little bit about PHP, kind of specifically how to open up PHP, how to upload your PHP, and how to run the file that you're kind of testing out. Alright, so what we have here is a class that we're going to set, and we're going to set that class equal to my first class. And you'll notice within that class, which is this here, we're actually setting a public function, and that public function is equal to get items. Now within that get items function, we're actually going to set a parameter, and that parameter is called sString, and we're going to set that default value equal to null. That way, if when we're calling this function no data is passed in, it'll still have something to reference. That way it doesn't give you an error saying that get items requires one parameter or what have you. Okay, so within that public function, what we're doing is we're just simply setting a variable, and that variable is called svar. Now I'm actually using a kind of a naming convention. What I'm doing here is I'm actually putting an S in front of the name of the variable that I want to set. S just represents string. I could have I for integer, A for array, O for object. It's just a way of keeping your code neat and kind of organized. And what we're doing, we're setting that variable equal to sString, which was just the parameter that we set from the public function. And the only thing that we're going to do is just return that svar after we set it. Now what we have down here is a couple of ways to call that class function. The first thing to do is just the easiest way. It would be to echo my first class, colon, and then the function that you wish to execute, which is get items. Now this is a way that you can actually have multiple functions within the same class. For example, you can have a public function get methods as string equals null, s4 equals string, just the same thing. Okay, so you can actually call the same thing here, get methods. We just pass in the parameter that we wish to set. Now you can actually set this equal to anything. Whatever this is set to is what you'll be able to reference. For example, you notice down here we're just passing in non-new instance, which is basically setting the sString equal to the non-new instance here. And you'll notice down here we actually are creating an object. This is getting more into object-oriented programming. So what we do here is we create a new variable. It's called oClass. We're creating a new object variable of class, and we just set that class equal to my first class. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to create that class object. So we say new equal to oClass, which is saying that equal to this. So basically this is saying new my first class. And then we're just doing a line break here because we're going to echo out the oClass object. We're going to echo out the get item. So actually let's change that to get methods. That way I can show you that it works the same. And then we just pass in the string that we wish to define, or the parameter. That could be your own custom variables that you wish. It could be what have you. It's really up to you. We can actually show you that. We'll just say s my string equals holy cow. Okay, and we'll just pass in that, pass in my string into that, and we'll save, and we'll go ahead and test. Okay, so we see non-new instance and holy cow. Alright, very good. So just recap. We create a class. Within that class we create a public function. That public function name is getItems. We are creating a param. We're setting that default value equal to null. That way we're just testing to make sure that it's set. If it's not set, it's not going to return a nasty error. And then we set that parameter equal to svar, which is set to the parameter that was sent, which is sstring. We return the svar, which is basically the string that was passed into the function. And then we just create another function, exactly the same function that this is. We just name it differently. Down here we call the simplest way to call the class function, which is my first class, which is calling this class here, and the getItems, which is calling this function here. We pass in the string, which is being set to this, which is being set into the svar string, which we're just returning the svar back. And down here we're just doing a line break to make it look neater. We set a string equal to my string. We set that equal to holy cow, and we just echo out the the class object, which is what we defined here. Remember that new my first class is essentially what we're doing here. And then we echo out the function get methods, which is calling this here and passing in my string, which is referenced as sstring, and the svar sets it, and this returns that to the browser, or returns that to whatever you're calling. Okay, so that was it. It's if it's not exactly something that you follow quite yet, just let me know. I can explain it to you in comments or maybe a text tutorial. Just let me know. I will paste this source code. Alright, let me know something. This has been the PHP Guru. You guys have a great one, and I hope to see you soon.